Okay, so morning everyone. It's time for my Monday huddle again, and today I'm just going to share something that I have been reading from a book recently. It's called Adversity Quotient, which is short for like in short, it's AQ, right? We have EQ, IQ, and this one is AQ, and I think it's quite relevant to us in today's world. That's why I want to bring up this topic today. So I think everyone can somehow feel that we are living in a world that has become more uncertain. There are more challenging things happening, and it's basically more difficult to deal with. Everyone might have different experience or different opinions about this, but we all somehow ask the same question. That is, when can we get back to normal, right? So I also have the same kind of thinking. I'm separated from my son, and I very much miss my family, and I want to get back to normal. And one day I'm just reading this book, and I kind of ask myself, what if this is just going to be the new norm that we need to adapt, right? What if there's just going to be multiple lockdowns, like Melbourne, it has being like 6 lockdowns, or I don't know, I can't count. But there are more lockdowns coming, and maybe in the next 5 years, it's just going to happen again and again, right? And we need to all somehow adapt and accept this is going to be our future, or this is something that we need to learn to deal with, right? And another thing is that I think different people may have different opinions, or they may have like prepared for this in some way, but some of them are less prepared, or they try to deny this is the react, and some of them are just more prepared, and they can try to figure their way out in whatever situation it is, right? So one of the things I want to share with you guys is the hard truth I have learned from life, which is I think life, when I was young, I expected to be pressure free, and I expect it to be always pleasant. But then I learned gradually that life is never going to be easy, and on the other hand, it's always guaranteed, or it's always supposed to be filled with obstacles. And for our generation, we don't need to face like war or whatever, like starving, but then we have our own task to tackle, right? And for different generations, they just have different difficult situations to deal with. But no matter where we are, or no matter what country you are in, you are always guaranteed to have different things to deal with, and it's not always going to be easy. And that's just the reality we need to live with. So if we have accepted that, it's going to be challenging, it's just going to be how life it is, right? Then we might need to ask the question, who or what type of person can survive and thrive in a world of challenges, or in a life filled with failure or challenges. And in the book of the AQ, the author have actually come up with 3 different type of person. So the first one he categorized as quitters. So the quitters, like the name suggested, are just the ones who when they see something difficult, they just quit, right? They don't try to deal with the problem. They just want to lie down and let the life decide what's going to happen for them next. And we don't want to be that. So in terms of the analogy of like a mountain climbing, these people are the ones who sees, oh, there's a high mountain. I'm not going to be there. I'm just going to quit. And the second type is the campers. So the campers are a bit better. They actually started to climb the mountain, and they try to, conquer some obstacles. And then they find, oh, there's a perfect place for us to camp, and they just settle down with all their fires, and try to cook food, and then they stop climbing, right? Because they feel, okay, whatever I have achieved now is enough. I'm not going to ask for more, and I'm happy with where I am, right? This is usually happening when you graduate with a perfect degree, but then you then you just join a company, and the company gives you the repetitive task, and it's not challenging at all. But then you feel, okay, it's good enough. I don't want to I don't want to change, right? I'm just happy with where I am. So these people are the campers. And the third ones are called the climbers. And of course, the climbers are those people who are really passionate about growing, and they are passionate about conquering the challenges. And they basically are always ready for moving forward. And they always look at the top. And even if they reach the top of the mountain, they always find another mountain to climb, right? They just can't stop. They want to make sure that they are using their lifetime in a meaningful way. And that's the climbers. So the key difference between these three kind of people are their AQ. So in terms of facing difficult situations, right? The quitters just quit. The campers like, okay, I'm happy with where I am. If I can avoid it, I just avoid it. And the climbers will just accept it and, grow from that. So the good thing is that AQ is something I think it's very relevant to our today's world, because it's full of challenges, as I said, and we can all choose to be quitter, campers, or climbers, right? But if we want to become a climber, we need to think about how to improve our AQ, or how to deal with the difficult scenarios in a better way. And the author has actually suggested there is a lead method, and I'm just going to share with you guys about what each letter stands for and how we can use that in our real life. So the first letter L stands for listen to your reaction. So this is basically, you need to, when you face a difficult situation, you need to start observe your unconscious reaction or your immediate reaction to that scenario, right? So for example, is it like most of the people, you always say to yourself, oh no, it's something bad again. I don't want to do it. Why am I facing the difficult situation? Why can't I have something easy? So this is something we all face, and you can think about it if you are facing a difficult situation again, and you need to listen to your instant react at that moment, right? But the author has suggested that we need to try to build a new connection from our thinking towards the difficult situation. So basically, we need to turn all the oh no to wow, this is good, this is exciting, this is a new challenge that I am facing, and I'm happy with it, right? So in terms of, like, for example, games. So if you are playing a game, and when you are in level 1, for example, you are supposed to defeat some level 1 bosses, right? Or maybe level 2. And then you gain some game experience, and then you level up to the next stage. And I think all the gamers are kind of expecting to face something different once they start growing or leveling up. They don't want to keep fighting with the level 1 boss again and again. I think in terms of this game, everyone will just quit because it's so boring, right? So for the gamers, if they see a new game boss, they are getting excited because they know this is something, once they defeat it, they can gain some, maybe fancy equipment, maybe more game gold coins, or maybe just more experience to be leveling up, right? So in the game analogy, people are expected to face the challenge situations, and they are happy with it. So why can't we just use that kind of mindset in our actual life? So why don't you just think, oh, if I face some challenge in my world, in my life, this is just because I leveled up, and this is something like a new task being given to me. And if I achieve this task, I can, grow more, and I'm leveling up. If you think in that way, once you face challenging situations, you will feel excited. And if you don't have any challenging situations, you might be thinking, okay, am I just, staying there? Am I not growing? You might want to seek for the difficult situations or the task you want to conquer, right? So if we can twist our mindset in that way, we can actually deal with the difficult situations in a much better way. And the second letter, E, stands for explore the situation. So basically, you need to understand why this is happening, and you need to somehow identify your role playing in that situation. So for example, maybe you own the situation, maybe you partially own the situation, maybe it's just something your friend has encountered and he needs your help, right? You need to somehow understand what is the situation and what are the responsibilities I need to take in that situation. And then you accept it and move to the third stage, which is analyze the evidence. So as we all know, this is a tough situation, but we need to somehow measure how tough it is based on evidence, right? Sometimes we try to scare ourselves, like we try to always assume the worst case, and then it's actually not that bad, right? If you gather all the evidence, maybe it's just a small setback of your life. Maybe sometimes, on the other hand, you are underestimating it. Maybe it's really something big and you haven't realized it's going to impact your life in a dramatic way, right? But anyway, you need to analyze the evidence and try to come up with the strategy you are going to deal with this situation. So last thing is just you need to do something, right? Even if you have the perfect attitude, you have very positive attitude, you have clear understanding of the situation, and you have done your analyze and you have your strategies. The main thing you need to do now is just to take actions, right? If you don't take actions, for example, if you are a climber, you think yourself as a climber, but you never climb, then I don't think the mountain will climb by itself, right? So you need to really start walking and you need to take small actions, and then you gather more information along the way, and then finally you can reach your ultimate goal. So these are the four things the author has just suggested us to start utilizing or start applying when you are facing a difficult situation. You always try to be positive about it, and then finally you need to do something about it, and that's within your circle of control, and you try to take ownership about it. And of course, keep climbing is not that easy. That's why we are seeing less or fewer climbers than the other people. I think campers are the most common scenario. We always feel someone maybe in their 30s, 40s, they just settle down and they don't want to face any new challenges, right? So this is really normal. And I think in terms of a climber, everyone can have their downtimes, right? So even if you are a climber and sometimes you don't feel that well and you sometimes quit, you sometimes settle down a bit, that's all good. As long as you still keep climbing, that's the main part. And I think as long as you climb, you are going to be rewarded, because that's your life experience, and that's something truly belongs to you, because you are the one who have learned from the situation, and you have went through the situation, and you have gained your own understanding about it. And I think another interesting thing I have learned is that although all types of the people can fail many times, right? And I think we need to learn to not only to be how to be successful in our life, we also need to learn how to be failing elegantly or failing forward in our life, because failure is really common, right? We need to somehow accept failure is the reality of the life. It's also the hard truth. But when successful people or when the climbers face with failures, they always fail forward. So they don't just stay there, or they don't just go back because they think it's too hard. They always fail forward. They always learn from it, and they always keep moving forward. So even failure is a step forward, right? If you think about failure in that way, you can deal with failure or the difficult situations or adversities in a much better way. And I think it's really important for us to learn in today's world. And the last thing I want to share is just, I feel every tough situation is really an opportunity for us to write a wonderful story. So imagine you are an author of your life book, and you open a page, and that page is a really bad experience or some really difficult things you need to tackle with, right? Then you start writing. And I think many of us have our favorite books or favorite movies, and if you think about these movies and books, you always want to see how the character has grown from the tough scenarios and how they have conquered these things, right? We don't want to see a book really boring, like we don't want to see the character is perfect from the start to the end, right? It's not going to be a good book. We want to see how the character start to grow, little by little, and how he faced the how he deal with the failures, and how he try to get a help, and how he just carry on, right? So imagine you're just the author of your real book, and you own the pen, right? You are the owner of the pen. You can write the remaining parts of your book, and then you can really start thinking about how you can make it to be a wonderful story that you can share when you grow old. Maybe you can share with your grandkids. You can share like, okay, grandma has done this, that when I'm in age of 30, 40, etc. Right? You want to make sure that you have enjoyed life, because I think for us, everyone is coming to the earth as a traveler, and as a traveler, you want to kind of explore as much as you can, and you want to make sure that you are enjoying your life in whatever situation, and you are surviving and thriving like just in your own lifetime, and you want to write your perfect story about your life. It's not going to be filled with successful stories. It's going to be filled with failure and adversities, but you always can reach the goal if you are you have the climbing kind of mindset, and you can always learn from that and learn to fail forward and just go through that. I think that's something I really want to share with you guys today, and hopefully it's going to be useful for you guys.